though it doesn't last a real long time, attached with a rumble of thunder and a strike of lightning. Temperatures low to mid 70s, even some 60s off in our northern communities. Look at this bulge of warmer air, though, and we will be tapping that. Doug, I mentioned it a few days ago. We had a shot to hit 80 degrees on Sunday and Monday. That is now the expectation. We may go into the 80s by the time we get to Monday afternoon. Winds are on the light side. Here's that future track model picking up on bands of showers. Yes, high school football games will be impacted by some wet weather. I think the wet weather ends, though, by 9, 10 o'clock and beyond. We're just left with the clouds overnight tonight. And we'll start off tomorrow morning with a lot of clouds, too, but eventually some breaks for sun coming about, Doug. And what about these 80-degree temperatures? I'll be showing you that and see if there's any break in the warmth, see if there's cooler air, October type of cooler air in the 7-day. We'll get to it in just a few.
Yeah, certainly not the 80s for mid-October. That is strange stuff, but we'll take it. Thank you, Anthony. And stay with Fox 17 for the latest forecast tonight and throughout the weekend. And you can download our free weather app. All you have to do is take your phone's camera, open it up. Right now, you can point it at that QR code on your screen. It's up during all of our weathercasts. You can also visit fox17online.com/weather. Well, if you live around the Portage area, you could be without electricity this weekend. The Portage Board of Light and Power is turning off the power for all customers starting tonight, just for a little while. We're told that the shutoff is going to last 12 hours from 11:45 tonight until noon tomorrow. They're replacing a series of high-voltage electric switches called reclosers, very similar to a heavy-duty circuit breaker. Crews from Consumers Energy will also do some maintenance work on their substation and transmission into Portland while the power is off. After a recent spike in COVID cases at Lakeview High School, they are now switching to virtual learning. A couple things to let you know about on that front. The superintendent says that students in grades 8 through 12 will switch to remote learning and extracurricular activities will be paused from October 9th through the 18th. Monday the 11th will also be a non-instructional day so teachers can prep their virtual learning plans. Career Center students can still attend classes. They haven't been notified of exposure by the school district, though they have to find their own transportation, and all classes are canceled Monday, October 19th. That is for staff training day. Well, today, the state of Michigan updated their coronavirus numbers. The state added roughly 8,400 new cases. That is for today and yesterday. So, of course, an average of about 4,200 cases each day. More than 1,055,000 cases have now been confirmed in the state. And COVID-19 deaths are also rising. The state reported 82 deaths. 40 of those were found in a records review. More than 21,300 Michiganders have lost their lives to the virus so far.
The pandemic presented an unprecedented opportunity for cybercriminals, and there's no sign of it slowing down. Checkpoint Security found that globally, weekly cyber attacks have increased 40% in 2021 compared to last year. Now, last month, there were more weekly attacks than any other month since January 2020. 1 out of every 61 organizations worldwide is impacted by ransomware every week. Now, the most targeted are education and research institutes.
And we have seen examples of school districts being compromised, not because the school district was the target, but some other more sensitive system, election systems, power systems, federal agencies have really been the target, but they've leveraged that compromised school district software and technology as a means to attack other, even more critical targets.
The federal government has a financial and security stake in helping school districts protect themselves from cyber attacks. That's why today the K-12 Cybersecurity Act became law. It commissions a study to issue recommendations and tools for districts to defend themselves against hackers. That's something the nonprofit K-12 Security Information Exchange has already done. You can see those recommended standards on your screen right here. They also have a self-assessment tool to measure progress against implementing those standards. Now, they say the difference is that they took into consideration the limitations and abilities of districts.
There are many quite elaborate cybersecurity risk management frameworks that already exist, but they are overcooked for school districts' capacity, for their needs, for the amount of money and resources that they have available to them.
Doug Levin says that districts are essentially low-hanging fruit for threat actors because there are not standards for cyber protection. Districts also manage a lot of money and have been extorted for millions, and they hold a lot of valuable data and sensitive information on students, families, and teachers.
We've seen examples, whether you're talking about very young kids to teachers working in school districts, of credit fraud, of tax fraud, and of identity theft, right? And this can take, weeks and months and years to unwind.
K-12 Security Information Exchange is now working with the federal government to help develop cybersecurity standards for school districts. Now, the pandemic appears to be making ageism at work worse.
The big joke with women my age is, oh, you got to keep your hair colored, you got to do this, you got to do that, or they'll know how old you are. And if they know how old you are, you can't get hired.
The work happening to combat this discrimination.
And also still ahead for us, schools are in need of early childhood educators. How one community and one company are working together to try and make up the difference.
Hey, Doug, how are you on a Friday afternoon? Got that radar up and running. There are some scattered showers and even a few thunder showers embedded in there. How does this affect your Friday night? And what about Saturday and Sunday? We want to know about that. I get to it after the break.
Businesses are adding fewer jobs than expected. The Labor Department says today just under 200,000 were added in September. The unemployment rate did drop slightly, though, below 5%. It was around 3.5% before the pandemic. The spread of the Delta variant is blamed for slowing economic recovery, but the recent wave does appear to have peaked. Now, when layoffs became rampant during the pandemic, age bias became more pronounced. It happened as employers had to consider who to keep on and who to let go. Dan Grossman sat down with two women who are trying to change the narrative.
At various times in our lives, we will get passed by, not chosen.
How old are you?
I'm 67.
67.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little
and
bit?
how?
For Linda Harmon, it was her age when prior to the pandemic, she applied for a big title job in the business community and was passed on for someone in their 30s.
I had a track record, a very successful track record. I was well known in Denver for being one of the best in the industry. And it was like, okay.
Linda didn't know it at the time, but ageism, or age discrimination like she believes she experienced, only became more prevalent, more damaging once the pandemic began.
I've had probably maybe half a dozen friends of mine who've been in similar issues. The big joke with women my age is, oh, you got to keep your hair colored, you got to do this, you got to do that, or they'll know how old you are. And if they know how old you are, you can't get hired.
Prior to COVID-19, a study by AARP found 61% of people ages 40 to 65 either had seen or experienced ageism in their workplace. This past May, when the study was repeated, that number jumped to 78%. That's the highest number AARP had seen since it started tracking the issue back in 2003.
I think it's all about stereotypes and kind of prejudice. It's like this narrative we have out there that getting older is awful and scary.
Janine Vanderberg works for a group called Changing the Narrative, which focuses on combating age discrimination. When she joined in 2018, its focus was to help Americans reframe their ideas about aging. But after she heard one story from a sixth grader who told her how her grandmother was depressed because she couldn't get hired, that all changed.
Ageism on every single level hurts us financially, hurts us health-wise, because and this is, I think, also why it's really hard to get people to go on camera. People don't want to admit that they think there was something wrong with them, as opposed to we've got a systemic issue going on, which is called age bias.
It was very tough.
For Linda, she didn't apply to a new job for 2 years as she worked through fear and self-esteem issues. Not only does ageism have its psychological effects, it has its financial ones. Another study by the Urban Institute and ProPublica found that 90% of workers over the age of 50 who were pushed out of jobs before they were ready to retire never recovered their previous earning power.
When there's gaps in what could allow you to get the job, your dream job, you go fill those gaps. And I looked at this and I thought, this is a gap I can't fill. I can't go back 25 years. So what am I going to do?
For the last year, Linda has gone back to working at her hometown newspaper, what she went to school for, as she seriously considers retirement and next steps, hoping others like her don't find themselves on a ledge as precarious as the one she sits on.
How do you get people out of their way of thinking and way of doing things and get them so they are competitive with people that are 30, 40 years younger than them.
I'm Dan Grossman.
All right, let's get moving, everybody. We've got some rain showers that have just pushed into the Grand Rapids area. We've got darker clouds, ominous-looking skies, but, we did get a little phase of some sunshine earlier on this afternoon. That sent the mercury to 74 degrees in GR. There you can see it. And a downpour pressing on through. Let me get out of the way. We're talking high school football. Muskegon at Mona Shores. This game kicking off, I believe, at 7 o'clock and should have temperatures running in the mid to upper 60s for the majority of the game. And yes, perhaps you will dodge a shower here or there, so you want to be on the lookout for that. But as the game wears on, the prospects for rain are actually going to decrease with time. And notice the winds out of the south-southwest and very light. So we're really not concerned about any wind gusts moving that football around tonight, despite some of the active weather at the current time. Temperatures running in the lower 70s. Again, did get to 74 I saw in GR earlier this afternoon. 67 South Haven, southward to Benton Harbor in a zone of rain-cooled air. We have had these recent showers and thunder showers hugging the Lake Michigan shoreline more so than inland locations. But as you saw in Grand Rapids, getting the rain to push in as of now. Winds not much to speak of out of the east or the southeast, only around 5 miles per hour. An upper-level low spiraling over eastern Wisconsin, northeastern Illinois, and Lake Michigan. So on the front-hand side of it, keep in mind the flow around low pressure is counterclockwise. We're getting the flow of moisture coming in from the south, coming in from Indiana, and a little bit better coverage, I would say, over the past couple of hours. And as I mentioned, some of the best coverage nearer the lakeshore, but just inland from the lake itself. So heavy downpours across extreme eastern Ottawa County at this point. If you look closely, yes, some lightning strikes and a fair amount of them through northern Ottawa County. So don't be shocked if you do hear a rumble of thunder or see a strike of lightning, even getting a few more than just a strike.